Behavioral Reprogramming of Well-Being. Joseph A. Santos. Life is shaped by time, circumstances, decisions, and consequences. The consequences of our decisions go through inefficiency, achievement, optimization, impact, and leadership of best practices. Our effective decisions move us from being good to doing well, to achieve the good achieve. All of this relates to our ability to learn, improve, and capture opportunity. Our conduct in this process presents the following elements: what the person thinks and how he thinks it, what the person feels and how she feels it, what the person says and how he says it, what the person does with what he thinks, feels, and says, the way the body expresses what the mind thinks and feels, the results that the person obtains with what he thinks, feels, and decides. To achieve the change we need, the first condition is determined by the commitments. Speaking of effectiveness, we only achieve those changes to which we commit ourselves responsibly. To expand our possibilities of well-being, we need to focus on the 7 capitals of an abundant life. 1. Physical capital. Our bodily health condition. The competitive condition of our body. 2. Mental capital. Temperament, character, intelligences, and competencies. Our behavioral competitive condition. 3. Vocational capital. Discover and develop our interests, aptitudes, competencies, and occupations connected to an occupation, work inclination, or career for which we feel attracted. 4. Entrepreneurial capital. Identify and develop business ideas. Start business plans, achieving important achievements in small, medium, and large developed enterprises. 5. Relational capital. The social web that we have created, on which we can travel towards the achievement of our purposes. 6. Financial capital. Savings, financial freedom, and net capital. 7. Spiritual capital. Ability to develop principles such as faith, repentance, forgiveness, and values connected with transcendence, making it possible to rise from the failure, loss, or storms of life. Reaching the 7 capitals of an abundant life leads us to the need to enrich our internal world, leaving criticism and complaint, to focus on the possibility of enriching the external world and thereby access the desired results. By entering the inner world of the person, we discover, within their version of reality, what is useful and what is holding them back in the achievement of their vision, mission, goals, achievements, and well-being. To identify these elements when exploring the internal model of the person, it is useful to know their perceptual maps of the world in which they move, formed by a set of beliefs, patterns, habits, attitudes, motivations, fears, indecisions, foolishness, traumas, opportunities, and development, which facilitate or slow down the path towards being well, doing well, and achieving well. Seeing what is not seen, hearing what is not in the ear, anticipating what has not happened are elements of practical intuition that require reading corporality, emotionality, conversational design, beliefs, and behavioral patterns. Reading moves us to enrich the internal world of the person by offering alternative views, new states of mind, and practices to dissolve her breaks. Expanding the world of a person is much more than changing it, it is maintaining what works and adding resources supported by views of possibilities capable of drowning out criticism and complaint. Renewing its internal model allows it to act with more flexibility, with hands free for functional changes, committed to clear purposes. Responding to one's own needs and those of the other requires flexibility and strength, acting carrying alternatives of action, selecting the appropriate one in each situation to enrich personal power, the ability to achieve, and the network of relationships through which one travels on the way to welfare. Having more alternatives opens the range of views, so that the appropriate change emerges more easily. Keeping what works, subtracting what makes you sick, allows you to multiply the power of a new resource. When the person has not removed what makes them sick, they end up diluting the usefulness of the new resource. That is why the search for well-being requires having a set of assumptions that facilitate the necessary change. Next, we make those assumptions. Presuppositions of neuro-linguistic programming. 1. Each person's map or model of the world is unique. We are unique in our physical, mental, social, and spiritual condition. Our internal and external vision create our own identity. 2. You are unique and so are they, so respect their model of the world. Our version of reality represents an interpretive look that we want to be respected, which leads us to respect that of our peers. 3. The map is not the territory. Our interpretation of reality is not reality itself, it is just a version. We live in interpretive worlds in which our perceptions represent our paradigms or maps of what we call our reality. When we assume foolish and unconscious behaviors, these hard thoughts put us in conflict and, unless they are updated, our paradigms will keep us confronted with others. 4. People are not their behavior, and their positive value, as a neighbor, remains constant. It is the appropriateness of the internal/external behavior that is in question, not the person per se. When we personalize, judge, compare, and categorize, we discriminate against human beings and divide. Valuing our differences is possible, as long as we keep the value of every human being constant. 5. The meaning we give to any behavior depends on the context in which it appears. Therefore, the most important information about a person is how that person is behaving, what positive intention they may be serving, and what is the context in which they find themselves. 6. All behavior, even the most horrible or strange, has a positive intention. From the person's perspective, her behavior is adaptive and seeks to respond to the circumstances she experiences, doing what is best for her, according to her interpretation and the resources available to her. 7. The most important information about a person, at any time, is how that individual is behaving. Beyond opinions or prejudices, there is observable behavior. Judging intentions only shows us, like machines, that we constantly make judgments. An affirmation, unlike a personal judgment, is an opinion based on observable behaviors or facts. 8. Everyone is doing the best they can, with the resources they have right now. We do what we can, with the resources we have. Enriching a person has to do with offering them new resources that expand their response capacity. 9. There are no people without resources, only states without resources. When a person focuses on criticism and complaint, the moods that it triggers limit, slow down, or block it. Learning to see possibilities offers us a set of resources that emanate from tools such as reconfiguration, cross-appropriation, and articulation. 10. The resources that an individual needs to achieve his results, in any situation, are already within him. Learn, improve, opportunize, think, create, discover, be interested, get excited and passionate about a result. They are intellective and effective processes that we human beings possess. Activating them through renewal is possible for everyone, beginning with leaving the circle of criticism and complaint, committing ourselves to responsible action. 11. The individual who shows the most adequate flexibility in his behavior will have the greatest influence on others in the system, context. Our ability to learn, improve, and opportunize requires adaptive flexibility to anticipate, focus, negotiate, simplify, and capitalize on power, capacity for action and solution. 12. There is no failure, only feedback. All results and behaviors are actually achievements. It's just a question of whether or not they are the desired result for that context or task. Learning from our mistakes is one of the most useful experiences on the road to success. There is not a single successful man who has not made mistakes on his way to the solution. 13. When you decide to take charge of the mind, you take responsibility for the results created your world. Every creation has two moments, the first, a mental creation focused on possibility, and the second, the material creation. Taking charge of our consequences requires becoming responsible, proactive people who act with the end in mind. 14. The meaning of communication is the response you get. Effective communication does not depend on what I say, but of the interpretation that the other makes of my words. Seek first to understand, then to be understood is one of the habits of highly effective people, developed by Dr. Stephen R. Covey. 15. Resistance in a client is a sign of lack of rapport. Reporting, active listening, empathy, and cooperation are ways of establishing bridges that open channels of communication. By reviewing the 15 assumptions of neuro-linguistic programming, we learn the importance of having a map to work with our clients, the path to their well-being. People choose the best alternative available to them at any given time. We all have extraordinary the resources within which we are not aware we can access and use them.